Welcome, wonderful people. This is Mr. Ndabezita once again. So there is something that I think we should just look at. It's not going to take a long time, and this is just looking at what can I call this? Let me just call this using nested classes. We want to nest two classes, and there are some comparisons that we want to do. So let me just come in here, and what I'm going to do is to just name this let me just call this okay, it's going to be a console application. I'm going to call this nested classes, right? And then I'm going to save this not in the repository but on the desktop inside of this folder. Press next, and I'm going to create. So I'm just going to create two classes. So I'm going to create two classes, and we will just look at how all this works out. So this is exactly the aim of this tutorial. It is just the aim of our tutorial. So this is what we have. So we are going to create these two classes under the same namespace. I'm not going to have separate classes. So I'll have this namespace that I'll call X. I'll have this class that I'll call P, and I'll have this static void main, and this will be a string of arguments, and then that will be that. I'll just end the main, and I'll just end the class. So one thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to create, okay, let me just say end namespace. So inside of this class, I'm going to create a public class, and I'm going to call this class A. Very important. And let me just end the class and class A. All right, inside of this class, I'll just have a private. It will be of type int, and I'm going to call this the state, and I will set the state to a value of -1. And then secondly, I'm going to have a public int, and this will be the state, and I'm going to use the fat arrow. So what is this? This is just a property, and I am assigning the property the value of this state. Nothing new is there's nothing new about this. There is nothing new about this. So I am nesting these classes. So a class inside of a class. So a class contains another class, that is containment. One class is contained in another class, so has a relationship will exist here, whereas with inheritance we have is a relationship. So a dog is an animal, a cat is an animal. So class A or class B is contained in class B. So class A is inside of class B, so class B is contained inside of class A. So I'm going to have a public. This will also be a class, and I'm going to call this class B. We haven't dealt with containment. We haven't dealt with containment. So this is very important that we note that. So end class B. So as you can see that class B is contained inside of class A. All right, that is fine. So what we are going to do here, the first thing that I will do, I will have a public void, and I'll call this method set the private state. We'll call this set the private state, and this method will accept a certain number of parameters. It will accept class A, it will accept an object which I will just call a target, and then secondly it will accept an int which I will call a new state. So it accepts two parameters. The first one, it accepts an object. The second one, it accepts an int. And then what do I want to do there? Now there's what we call okay, sorry. So inside of this method there's what we call a target. And when you look at a target, when you say target, you see, what does it look like, this target? A target, very, very important. And this target, let me just come here, target is not null here, you see, so it is a parameter. So target, there it is, it's an object because it accepts an object which we call target. From class A, it accepts an object of class A. Now looking at class A, did we create any object from class A? No, we did not. So I'm going to say target dot, and there is what we remember from class A, we have this what now, property, and this property is assigned a value of this private int. So private dot state, and I'm going to assign this to a new state. Very, very important. So I'm saying target dot state. So let me just resolve this problem. So target, which is an object of class A dot, what is it that I have inside of class A? Let me take you through this. Inside of class A, look what I have. I have this state, and what is this state? It is a private field. You see, it is a field that is private. And I also have what now? I have a property that is inside of class A. What else do I have? That's all what I have. I have access to the state, the private member, because it was defined inside of class A, and I have the property of class A because it is just public, right? So I'm saying target via the object class A target dot state, because it is inside of class A, and then I am assigning that to a new state because now I am in class B. Very, very important that we understand that. And then once we have understood that, let's go to the main. The first thing that we are going to do is to create an object of class A, and we will call this my object. My object equals new class A. And when I do this, I don't have any constructor, so a default one will be provided for me. So let me just import a few things. Let me just have using static system dot console, and then when I'm here, I'll just have a right line, and in this right line let me use the interpolation sign. And what is it that I will say there? I'll just say my object state, my object dot let me just say my object dot state, and then I'll say equals, and then I'll say my object dot state via what now? Via a property. Okay, let me just do this. So what is this state now? Remember, that's a property. So, and I know that it has a value of -1 because -1 was assigned to a property. Very, very important. So this is the first thing that I will do in this right line, and then I will say class A dot, you see, you only have access to this because class B is contained inside of class A. So I will say class A dot class B, and then I will create an object, and I will say this is my other object, and this is equals to new class A class B. Very, very important that you see how this nesting is happening. So secondly, once that is done, let me go to my other object, and now when you press the dot, look what you have. Let's come here. We have access to the method set private state. So I will go to set private state. Now remember that method accepts an object. So I will send in my object. And then secondly, it accepts what now? It accepts an int. And I will send 999. Very, very important. This is containment. Right, and then I will just have a right line, and I will use interpolation once again. And what is it that I want to say there? I just want to say my object dot state equal, and I just want to say my object dot state. And there we are, and there we are. Right, so let's check here. Let's just try to go through something. Class B, we have, did we create an object of class B? No, we said class A dot class B because class B is contained inside of class A. My other object equals new class A class B, and remember class B that is contained inside of class A doesn't accept any arguments. So I'm saying my other object dot, but I know inside of class B I have a method which is called the set private state that accepts an object from class A, which is my object, and an int. And then I'm just saying my other object dot state equals to what? I want to check whether the state will change. And then remember the new int, which is 999, will be inside of the target. And where did I get the target? Remember the target is from class A. So what am I doing here? It looks like I am overriding that my object dot state here, but let's not because objects, remember, are called by reference. So whatever you do to this state will originally alter the original value. So this is called by reference, but let's look whether this is so or whether this is not. Okay, I'm very tired. My object dot state, first of all, it was -1, and my object dot state now it's 999. So this is just something that I wanted to share with you guys. So thank you so much for watching this, and try to understand this whenever you have time, and I will see you in the next tutorial.